All right, so today we're going to pull back the curtain on a process that feels like, well, straight up magic. We're going to look at how a truly bizarre-looking concoction gets transformed through some really cool science into an incredibly sophisticated cocktail. This, my friends, is the alchemy of Jalisco. And you know, sometimes the best things start out looking like a total mess. Well, that is exactly what's happening here. The very first step looks like a complete disaster. But trust me, this culinary catastrophe is all part of the plan. I mean, just look at this. Seriously, the person who made it even said, quote, "In the basement of a bar, this looks like a health code violation." And they're not wrong. It's curdled, it's murky, it is absolutely not something you'd think you'd want to drink. Or maybe it is.
And that's the big question, right? How in the world does that globby mess become the secret ingredient for a perfectly smooth, crystal clear, top-shelf cocktail? Well, the answer isn't magic, it's actually some pretty fascinating chemistry.
Now, this isn't some random experiment. This whole process is for a brand new tasting menu called the Alchemy of Jalisco. It's being developed for a bar called Alibi down in Ajixic, Mexico. So this is professional, it's deliberate, and it's definitely high concept. So, let's look at what's actually in this stuff. The base is simple enough, really. We're talking a good quality tequila blanco and the bright, zesty flavor of fresh pineapple. Those are the building blocks for what will eventually become a tequila milk punch.
But here's the problem they're trying to solve. In its raw state, the mix is just too aggressive. You know that sharp, kind of harsh bite you can get from the spirit and the acidic juice? That's what they're trying to get rid of, to create a much more refined experience.
So, how do you take that bite out of the equation? Well, this is where the science behind the magic comes in. We're going to break down a classic technique that bartenders have been using for centuries. It's called milk washing.
Milk washing. I know, it sounds a little strange, but it's pure chemistry. You deliberately add your acidic cocktail mix to milk. The acid causes the milk's proteins, called casein, to curdle. And believe it or not, that's exactly what you want to happen. Those curds become a natural, superfine filter. So it really breaks down into 3 simple steps. First, you introduce the acid, the pineapple and citrus, to the milk. Bam! Instantly the casein proteins curdle up. And here's the brilliant part. Those curdled proteins form a microscopic net that is perfectly designed to trap all those harsh-tasting compounds, which are called polyphenols. Think of that curdled mass as the world's finest filter. As the liquid slowly drips through it, that protein net literally grabs onto the bitter, astringent molecules from both the tequila and the juice. It strips them out, but, and this is so key, it leaves all the good, desirable flavors behind. And the result of all this scientific filtering? It's nothing short of a total transformation. We're not just talking about the flavor, we're talking about the actual texture, the way the drink feels in your mouth. The difference is just night and day. You go from something that's harsh, cloudy, and has an aggressive bite, to a drink that's unbelievably silky, has a really refined flavor, and is perfectly, beautifully clear. It's a complete sensory upgrade. I just love this quote because it sums it up so perfectly. We're essentially stripping the mean out of the bottle. All of that aggressive heat from the alcohol, all that sharpness from the acid, it's just gone. So what you're left with is a liquid that has the texture of silk. The flavors are still there. You still get the pineapple, the agave, but they're softer. They're more elegant. It really is like tasting a polished, perfect memory of what the ingredients started as. But of course, this level of refinement doesn't happen in an instant. The alchemist's promise is incredible quality, sure, but it demands one final, absolutely crucial ingredient: patience. And you can see that patience right here. This slow, steady drip, that's the final stage. Every single drop has to pass through that protein net to get that perfect clarity and smoothness. It's a great lesson, really. You just can't rush alchemy. So what we've seen today is just a peek at the secret process. We've watched the transformation begin, from something that looks like a health code violation to the promise of perfection. But the final, bottled, crystal clear result, well, it's not quite ready yet. Which, of course, leaves us with one last, tantalizing question. After all this science and all this patience, what other secrets of flavor and texture will the final Alchemy of Jalisco menu actually reveal? I guess we're all just going to have to wait and see.